Get your favorite health tips right here on U24. Maintain your kidney by drinking 8 to 10 glasses of water each day. This can be in form of soup, tea, water, cooked grains, and boiled vegetables.
Hi, my name is Doreen Tuhidire, coming to you from Be Money Wiser, and we're going to be bringing to you the hashtag 100 Ways to Be Money Wiser by Mrs. T. Tilda Nabandra. We're going to be running this hashtag 100 Ways to Be Money Wiser on U24 television. Don't miss out.
U24. Don't miss on U24.
Entrepreneurs Hub, giving you a deep and unique insight into agribusiness, services, ICT and innovation, industrialization, and so much more. Entrepreneurs Hub, growing your small, medium, and large business entity. With yours truly, Sandra Kahunde.
This is Tano Tano from the Uganda National Lottery. Win up to 10 million every 5 minutes. That's right, a new draw every 5 minutes from 6:45 a.m. to 11:45 p.m. Pick your numbers, choose your wager, or go to Quick Pick and get in the game fast. Play at an authorized agent, online, or dial *278# from your phone. Win instantly. No waiting, no delay. Tano Tano is live. Your next chance to win is just 5 minutes away. Ituba is the proud operator of the Uganda National Lottery.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
He is expected to be in Lubowa as he is being nominated, and thereafter he will be heading to Kololo, to thank his people for trusting him and giving him another chance to get nominated as the president of Uganda. And also other candidates will be nominated that very day. So all you have to do is plan your ways accordingly and make sure you know where we're going. 2026, 2025, we're going to be heading into elections, and a lot has been said, a lot is ongoing, but that is a topic for another day when we have someone who will be talking about strictly politics. But guess what? Today we are talking about mental health, and of course mental health is broad. It is something that people do not take time to talk about, or sometimes they don't even take time to think, what is mental health? Do you ask yourself that even a baby of 1 year can go through mental health? Do you ask yourself, even a one-day-old baby can go through depression? Why? Because maybe the mother has not yet gotten breast milk to breastfeed the little one. So you find it's something that is broad and big. Well, today in studio, I'm honored to be joined by Susan from Strong Minds, and we're going to be talking about mental health. But also, guess what? This very month of September is Suicide Awareness Month. What do I mean by Suicide Awareness Month? This is the month where they talk about suicide. We have had these things. Children hang themselves in dormitories, even big people you find when they've hanged themselves in their own houses, in their own homes. So we were talking about awareness about suicide and what happens when someone is going through that stage. What can you do to help them? Without looking any further, Susan is here from Strong Minds, and she's going to be explaining to us about mental health. And of course, we're going to be talking about more so about this very month of Suicide Awareness Month. A lot is there. People, by the way, go through depression. And let me tell you, mental health is real. It is a very, very, very big thing. In hospitals, sometimes people go to hospital and they find out that they're not sick, but what is wrong with them is they have a mental health problem. And how do you deal with that? And if you're a parent out there and your child is going through depression, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with all these issues? I'm glad and honored that Susan is here, the doctor. She's going to be explaining to us what one can do when they are going through mental health, when they're going through depression. And also, she's going to give us more light about Suicide Month. What can we do to stop this? Do we have schools out there? Do these people go to those schools to talk to these young children about these things? Because I'm telling you, depression is real. If you have never gone through depression, well, my dear, viewers out there, I wouldn't love you to go through depression. And you know, from depression, then it goes to mental health. Then out of the blue, you ask yourself, I think I can hang myself. And you know, it's a thought that keeps on coming and coming. You're welcome, Susan, this morning.
Thank you so much.
Glad to have you on the show.
Thank you so much.
To our dear viewers that are watching, they would love to know your beautiful name.
I'm excited to be here, and my name is Susan Adikini Winifred, and currently serving as the Quality Assurance Coordinator for Strong Minds.
Okay. Yeah. Susan, without a waste of time, what is mental health?
When we talk about mental health, we are looking at a state of well-being in which an individual is able to cope well with the stresses of life. We know that in life there are a number of difficulties, challenges, and we know that during this time, there are so many parents that are actually taking their children to school. So how are the parents coping with these issues, but also the children that we're taking into these schools, how are they coping with the pressure? We have a number of candidates during this third term, but how are they coping with that pressure, school pressure, and you know, some of the communication from their parents that you must perform, you must do this, you must bring out a 4 and all that. So when we talk about mental health, we're looking at a state of well-being where you're able to cope with the stresses of life, you're able to realize your potential, and in this we see resilience, that you're able to find out what can I do, come up with solutions to the issues of life, and then you're able to learn well, you're able to perform well, and ultimately also be able to contribute to the community.
So what, if I may ask, what types of mental health are there and how many are they? Because does depression fall in mental health? Does suicide fall into mental health? Does stress fall into mental health?
When we talk about mental health is largely on a continuum. So it's not per se, you know, the absence of an illness. However, it's on a continuum, and any of us is susceptible. So just in case it was you, Sheila, or just in case it was me, any of us can actually get a mental health problem. So when we talk about mental health problems, we look at depression, we look at anxiety, and suicide. There are also other, you know, other mental health problems like schizophrenia, bipolar, and those are on the extreme. Yeah.
Let's talk about bipolar. I know people that I've actually worked with some people that have bipolar, but also there are types of bipolar, if I am not mistaken. And some of it is, you know, there's certain people that are too clean, too clean to an extent. You enter their house, they touch everywhere. If there's dust, then they feel like, you know, it is stressing them. Yeah. This bipolar, someone out there really might not understand what bipolar is. Do you mind explaining to us what this bipolar is?
Okay, so when we talk about bipolar, it's a shift, okay, in mood from a depressive state, then to the extreme side where you have extreme energy, what we call the manic state. So sometimes you'll find that someone is very low on the scale, they're feeling sad, they're down, they're depressed, and then on the other hand, they get excess energy, they go into aggression, you know, and their energy is high up there, what we call mania.
Wow. Let's talk about mental health in children.
Yeah.
What is mental health in children?
Mental health in children is a very big issue, and currently largely because most of the population in Uganda is our children and adolescents. So we find that even most of the mental health problems emanate from adolescence and childhood, it's imperative that we actually look out as parents. You know, what are some of the signs that actually your child is going through a mental health issue? Sometimes we find that our children are going through depression. Our children might be affected by different issues like anxiety, suicidal ideation, and all that.
Susan, when you talk about depression in children, let's talk about at which age does a kid go through depression? Does it matter? Is it like from 0 to up to where I am right now? Basically, let's talk about these young ones before we go to the ones that are in secondary and primary. Let's talk about from 0 up to, I think, primary 7. What kind of depression affects these babies?
Yeah, so for the younger children, depression affects them. And however, statistics indicate that onset of depression happens mostly from the childhood state to the adolescent stage. And there are a number of different symptoms that can actually show that this child has depression. So depending on the different ages, you can be able to actually identify that this child probably has depression. So, may it be in the speech patterns, the communication style, the way they respond to parents, and all that. So even as we are tailoring our approaches, we tailor them depending on the different age groups. Yeah.
So in this age group, does it start like from babies? Does it start like from 1 year and ongoing? And if you see that your child is going through that kind, what are some of the things that me as a parent, I can do to make my band of joy happy instead of going through that depression moment? And also maybe some other thing, this young band of joys that we do have, do they also feel like they have that thing of suicidal into them, or it starts from the teens and upwards?
Okay, so according to some studies, it actually shows that when a mother is depressed, the depression can actually be transferred to
the baby.
I
thought that happens when they are still in the stomach.
Yeah, so that can actually happen. If a mother is depressed, then the depression can actually be transferred to the baby. So even when the baby is born, you find that they might have been affected by the mother's depressive state. However, as you go on to notice, as the baby grows, there are actually telltale signs that will actually let you know that maybe this child
is depressed.
This child needs support. But as we swing into 5 years ongoing, when a child is able to communicate, you begin to see that the child is more withdrawn. You begin to see signs of agitation, irritation.
Okay, so let's talk about this. I have a little band of joy who's 5 years, and she's very naughty, very, very naughty. And sometimes you know, there are those days when you try and be like a little bit tough on her, and then you find her in a corner seated. Does that mean it's depression?
It could be. It could be a telltale sign that actually they are withdrawing. And they are trying to avoid the situation, or maybe they are thinking through something that has hurt them, something they are not happy about. So it's important that as a parent, you should not actually ignore such cases within the children.
So when I find this little band of joy seated in the corridor, do I have to, get her up and talk to her? There's sometimes when these babies become a problem, and you feel like you want to put that baby in a naughty corner and tell her, sit in that naughty corner. I'm asking, as a parent, as a mother, we're talking about depression and mental health, and it's basically in parentinghood. These children, when we tell them to sit in the naughty corner, do they go through depression?
It's important that you actually attend to this child. Don't ignore any circumstance, because it could actually result to anything serious. So, talk to the child, find out, how are you? How is your day? Ask. So that maybe from the response, you're able to actually identify that probably, maybe she's having her own time, or maybe she's agitated, or something has hurt them, and they need you to actually come in and support.
So, okay, so now that's where parenting becomes a little bit hard.
Yeah.
So we need to talk to our children. So these little children, let's say from the age of 4 to probably 6 or 7, do they also get that feeling that, you know, I want to commit suicide? Do they really get that feeling? Or for them, it's basically, I don't have my dress, mommy has not talked to me. What really happens to them? Because you have studied this. So to these babies, do they also have that feeling that comes in that it is suicidal to them sometimes?
Yeah, so it's very possible for these children to actually have develop suicidal tendencies or suicidal thoughts, even at that level. And sometimes even when you interact with a child, you might find that they are drawing pictures, you know, pictures that are actually indicative that they are not happy, you know. If you gave your child a paper and told them to write down, maybe draw pictures, you know, of, and you'll find out that they'll draw maybe mommy and daddy fighting, or maybe they might draw a scary sketch, or they might begin to talk about suicide, you know, and killing, you know, killing themselves and all that. So we shouldn't ignore any of this communication that comes in for any child at whatever age.
All right, you are watching U24, and of course you are watching us, me and Susan. We're talking about mental health, and Susan is explaining to us mental health in children. And guess what? It is true. These babies also go through mental health. Now, you can follow this conversation on our YouTube channel, which is at U24, at U24 Television. That is our X, which is former, of course, Twitter, TikTok, we are there, and of course Facebook and Instagram. You can follow us. So then let's talk about Suicide Month. We are out there. People do not know what suicide is. People do not even sit down to, you know, to talk to their children. What is Suicide Month awareness all about? And also, what are some of the signs that this kid is going through emotional things that could lead them to hanging themselves?
Suicide is when we talk about a deliberate act to actually kill yourself. So you want to intentionally be able to take away your life. And suicide most times emanates from depression. And how do you tell that actually maybe my child or maybe an adult has suicidal tendencies or suicidal thoughts? So sometimes they'll begin to talk about death. I'll kill myself, you know, I'll take my life. And these might be simple statements, but actually these statements have meaning, and we shouldn't ignore them at any one point. Sometimes we'll notice that they will withdraw from family, they will withdraw from friends, from community, and they're actually beginning to process some of these thoughts. How can I be able to take myself away? Sometimes we might notice a change in sleeping patterns, or even eating patterns. Someone who really had appetite before no longer wants to eat, or sometimes their appetite might change on the other hand and they're eating too much. That could be also a telltale sign. How about sleep changes? You might find that you're failing to sleep, or sometimes you might oversleep and not be able to be productive, or going to work very late. It might be a child who might struggle to wake up very early to attend to lessons, or maybe a child at home who might struggle to wake up when they are preparing for school. So those are some of the telltale signs. Some of them begin to give out belongings.
Wow.
You know, maybe they have something with them and they'll begin to share it out to other people. So these are some of the telltale signs. Sadness. You find that someone who was previously happy motivated, you know, and right now you find that they are very sad, you know, they are withdrawn, they are to themselves, and many times they actually begin to say it, that probably when I go,
you will be happy.
You will be happy, you won't have to suffer anymore. So those are some of the red flags that actually are indicative that someone is having suicidal thoughts.
So now you as a clinical officer, you as a person who is in this, what do we do to these children when they start to have those suicidal thoughts?
Yeah, so when the children begin to speak out these statements, it's important as parents, as caregivers, we shouldn't ignore some of these signs. You should be able to, you know, have a chat with this child, separate yourself, in a confidential setting and be able to talk, share out, find out, ask about it. And we should ensure that we use a non-judgmental tone, be approachable so that the child is able to actually let out and speak out whatever they are feeling.
There are some parents who don't actually give a listening ear to their children, even us in the adult stage. You find like sometimes you really want to sit down and talk to your mother and she's like, oyajja kuba bulungi. You want to sit down and have a conversation, maybe tell them what is going through. And also maybe sometimes parents never really, take time to ask their children if they're okay. How are you? How is your relationship with God? Maybe how is your relationship or marriage relationship? So what kind of advice do we give to such parents?
So for parents out there, it's important to know that suicide emanates from depression, which is an illness, and it's a mental health illness. So you need to pay attention to this child. They're actually struggling and they're in need. So it is not a situation that comes from the blue, or it is not self-inflicted, but it is something that has been pushed by a number of different factors. Probably this child has been abused and you're not aware.
Yeah, true.
You talked about the young children, and many of us mothers who work especially leave our children with the caretakers at home.
True.
And you might never know which kind of abuse this child has undergone. Sometimes we leave our children in the communities and you're not aware actually whom this child has been able to interact with. So they could have gone through abuse. Certain times also issues at home. There might be family conflict, there might be separation between the parents, there might be divorce, and all these are factors that actually affect our children negatively, and they're actually, by the time they reach the state of suicide, they actually need help. And it's important that come in with a non-judgmental attitude, listen to them, find out what's happening, do not leave their side.
Let's not judge them.
Yes, and then be able to also reach out to a mental health specialist so that you can receive the services.
Let's talk about these secondary students and campus, and probably also in my age. Let's talk about these people that hang themselves, Susan. Do you think they have failed to get people to talk to, basically the secondary children? Because we've seen a lot in secondary that these kids hang themselves. The kid was fine there, seated, talking with friends, and then when they go back to the dormitory, as they wake up, they find this kid has, put a sheet around their neck and they're hanging. Do you think they failed to get someone to talk to so that they can find a way of, helping them out in this kind of situation when they're, thinking about suicide?
I would say that adolescent stage, especially for the secondary students, it's a very critical stage in life where children are developing, they are learning so many things. A lot is happening within their own lives. So they go through a number of issues, and sometimes because of lack of awareness, they are not able to actually identify that, oh, I'm having a problem and I need support. Probably I have symptoms of depression, probably I'm struggling with a mental illness and I need to be supported. So oftentimes when they go through issues in life, pressures, there might be pressures at school, there might be pressures from home, they think that actually suicide is the solution. And some of them keep withdrawn. Some of them might not be able to share to any other person because they fear to be judged, and largely because of the lack of awareness, but also secondly, the stigma tagged around mental health, that if I shared probably with a teacher, if I shared with probably a friend or a colleague, maybe I would be judged. Maybe how would they look at it? So even in the secondary school, we need to leverage on how do we capacitate the teachers within the secondary schools to be able to be well-informed about mental health, to be able to spread awareness among the students, and actually let the students know that if you feel these certain symptoms, you're actually not mentally well and you need support. So if we continue to build awareness around mental health in the schools, around suicide, around available resources available, places they can seek support, then we find that these students might be able to reach out and they will be well supported. But at the end of the day, they will gain insight into their own circumstances and they will know that, oh, I'm feeling sad. I think I'm beginning to have an abnormal thought. I want to kill myself. I feel withdrawn. I've lost my appetite. I no longer sleep at night. I don't want to do any schoolwork anymore. I struggle to do my work. I struggle to concentrate during lessons or in the classrooms. Then probably I need to talk to someone. So if we continue to spread awareness, talk about mental health, we'll be able to help our learners in the secondary schools actually build insight and know that actually it's time for me to seek help.
All right, let's talk about breaking the stigma around mental health. What happens or how do we go about that? Basically in secondary school.
Yeah, breaking the stigma in secondary schools, it's very key because during the adolescence time, children are very sensitive. Sometimes if they are going through, yes, they are developing. So they are very sensitive. And if they are going through an issue, sometimes they feel, I think I need to, keep quiet. I don't know how the parents will perceive it. I don't know how the teachers will perceive it. So let me keep quiet about it. And I won't go and share because of any repercussions that might come in. So it's important that we continue to spread messages in an adolescent-friendly manner. Can we be able to spread messages about mental health? Where our learners get to know what is mental health, what are the signs and symptoms, how can I be able to actually receive support, and who are those go-to people that where I can actually receive support. Currently, as Strong Minds Uganda, we are working a lot in the schools, in both the primary and the secondary schools, and we've been able to empower the teacher facilitators, the senior women and men within the schools to actually be able to reach out to the learners. And we encourage that we need as a nation to continue leveraging on these resources, empowering the schools, empowering the systems to ensure that we are able to spread awareness, let the learners get to know, and let them have safe space and safe people where they can actually be able to share whatever they are going through, receive assessment, and if found that actually they are having, they're in danger,
yes,
and then they can be able to receive support.
All right, we are talking about mental health today, and of course mental health is broad. It's very important. Susan has explained to us that sometimes even the little ones go through mental health problems. But how do you go about this? We're going to take a very short break, and of course when we come back, we're going to be talking how can we advise the parents out there who have children that are going through mental health or who are going through depression or perhaps suicide ideas? What can we do to help them out? And of course, to the adults out there, what do they do just in case they feel that they're going through a lot of depression? All that is happening right here on U24. Let's go for a very short break. When we come back, we'll be talking more about mental health.
My name is Erica Murunchi and welcome back to Be Inspired by Erica. Hope you're fine. So today I want to talk about meaningful friendships. Friendships are important to us because they help us relate with others. For example, family, cousins, and friends at school, and many others. How do you make those friendships meaningful? Surround yourself with people who inspire, uplift, and support you. Meaningful friendships are a treasure, and having them in your life can bring joy. Invest in friendships that nourish your mind, heart, and soul. Remember, meaningful friendships are a two-way street. Be willing to show up, listen, and support, and you'll find that that same love and support you gave will come back to you. Stay blessed. Much love.
All right, welcome back from that short break. Now, Emma has just made me smile. He just entered and decided to wiggle around his bed. Now, that is a sign that I cannot go through depression because I have someone that can keep a smile on my face. Now, before we went for a very short break, we're talking about mental health, basically in adults and, of course, in the teens. But Susan told us we as parents, we have to talk to our the little ones. We have to talk to them when they're going through that stage, and we should know what happens. Now, Susan, as we do come to wrap up this show, there are out there adults that go through depression and they do not know how to contain it. What advice could you give them? And to also the parents who have children that are also like the teens that are going through depression, because I might be married, but I'm not happy in my marriage and I don't have anyone to talk to. Every time I want to talk to someone, even my own parents, they just give me a deaf ear. What advice can you give?
It's important to, one, gain insight into your own mental health state and also be emotionally aware at any one point T. So it's important that as an adult or as anyone, it could be a child, it could be an adolescent, they need to know the telltale signs or the symptoms of depression and symptoms of mental health problems. One of the signs of mental health problem is that there will be feelings of sadness.
As you had said earlier.
Yes, and loss of hope, feelings of loss of interest, and motivation to do the things you previously loved to do.
Yeah, but
like
you can't
Sheila,
do it
if you love to dance,
yes.
you know, you love to, you know, socialize and talk to friends, you find that most times you feel withdrawn, you don't want to do that anymore. Sometimes it might go into your own personal appearance, you no longer care about how you look, you know, about how you appear. That could also be a telltale sign. We have changes in appetite, changes in sleep patterns, sometimes even lack of concentration to do the things you're doing. And that actually also impacts on productivity at work, but within the different tasks. And at the end of the day, ultimately, it might affect your, you know, your impact or your well-being. We also have changes in movement or speech. You find that probably someone who loved to talk no longer talks. They are quiet. They are more withdrawn. Feelings of self-worth, of worthlessness, and someone feels that they are not worth it anymore. They feel guilty. They feel like they've failed. They are not able to contribute to their family or, you know, help themselves that much. That is also a telltale sign. So it is important as a parent, but also as a community, that we get to know what are some of these signs and how can I be able to know that probably these are the signs and I need support. So it's important that when you realize those signs, reach out to a mental health specialist, reach out to internal, you know, resources within the community. We have family, we have friends. You have a trusted person that you can actually reach out to, break the silence, because we are often as sick as our own secrets. So we need to break up the silence and be able to seek support. And in seeking support, then you will be able to actually find a solution. In times where we have crisis situations where someone actually wants to commit suicide, it's important that we reach out to a psychiatrist and seek for support so that an assessment is done. There could be an underlying mental illness, and this person actually needs to be supported. But also at Strong Minds Uganda, we are piloting the interpersonal psychotherapy for groups model, where we are able to equip teachers in the schools. We're able to equip the health workers within the health settings, the village health teams, and also leverage on the community structures to ensure that there is care out there. So please do not keep quiet. Open up, seek support, and you will actually come out of it.
Now, Susan, I want you to look into that camera and talk to the parents, and what could be your last advice to the parents out there? And just in case they need, a person to talk to, you can as well give out your number or Strong Minds, where you people located, so that maybe they can find time to come there and, have a one-on-one session with maybe, a psychologist or anyone that can help them, instead of them thinking about committing suicide.
Thank you so much, Sheila. I will say that mental health begins with me, begins with you, and it begins from the family. So it's important as parents out there, let us be very observant to our children. How are they behaving? Is there a change in behavior? Let's attend to actually what is happening to our children, and we'll be able to support them. Mental health is wealth, and without good mental health, you'll not be able to be productive, you'll not be able to take care of your children, your family, of your loved ones, and at the end of the day, you'll not be able to be productive and contribute to your community. So if you notice that you're actually having symptoms of sadness, there's a change in the different patterns we talked about, sleep patterns, appetite patterns, and all that, you're feeling worthless, you're feeling, you have feelings of committing suicide, it is not the end for you. There is still hope. And we are there to support you as Strong Minds, Uganda, but also you can be able to reach out to friends and family for support. In Strong Minds, we are located in Bugolobi, Luthuli Rise, just after Bugolobi Flats. You can be able to reach out to us, and we'll support you.
Well, Susan, thank you so much for coming through, and thank you so much for coming to explain to us what mental health is all about, and also with the parents to know that just in case our children are withdrawing, they could be having a problem and we need to seek for help. Thank you so much. Send my regards to Vincent. Tell him today I've missed him, but I hope he will be here next time. So thank you so much for coming through. Well, Susan has talked a lot about mental health, and mental health is real. Mental health kills. Depression can lead to suicide. It can even lead to you to just stay away from your loved ones, the ones that you used to love before. So how do we go about this? Susan has told you, you can get time, talk to your loved ones, find a person to talk to, whereas you can go out and have a friend who who can cheer you up. I do have a friend here called Emma, the one that comes in after my show. He really does a good job to cheer me up, even when I'm very, very tired or very, very, angry. He does the dancing and then the shaking around, and I become happy. So we need to get people to talk to, and these are the people that matter. Do not sit down and die. Do not stay in an isolated place when you can have someone to talk to. And remember, this very month of September, we are celebrating the suicide month, and they have told you the things, the do's and the don'ts. If you see someone is withdrawing, then you get to know that this person has a problem and you need to work on it. But thank you so much for coming through. Emma and the crew, the Fresh and Clean, will be coming up with the latest gossip in all the international music out there. And of course, yesterday we did have Omega. All that will be coming up. Kenneth Mugabe, all that information will be coming up with the Fresh and Clean. But also do not forget, 2025-2026 is the year that you decide who you want to be your president, to take you to another 6 years. So do not also forget, on a Tuesday, the Electoral Commission will be electing, they will be nominating, the candidates to stand as, president. So it's, your candidates will be there to stand. So make sure you don't cause commotion. Do not go to be beaten. We need a peaceful and a fair election. His Excellency will be among the people that will be nominated on that very day, which is Tuesday, and then after he will be heading to Kololo to thank his people for nominating him again. Thank you so much for being part of this. We do this again next week on Saturday, same time, and we'll be talking about something different. For now, Fresh and Clean is coming up with beautiful music. All the songs that you want to listen to, they'll be playing for you right here. Have a blessed day. And do not forget, tomorrow is a Sunday to go, to church and praise the Lord. With me and the whole entire crew, we say have a good day, and we'll see you next week, same time, and we'll be doing this again.
Get your favorite health tips right here on U24. Maintain your kidney by drinking 8 to 10 glasses of water each day. This can be in form of soup, tea, water, cooked grains, and boiled vegetables.
Hi, my name is Doreen Tuhidire, coming to you from Be Money Wiser, and we're going to be bringing to you the hashtag 100 Ways to Be Money Wiser by Mrs. T. Tilda Nabandra. We're going to be running this hashtag 100 Ways to Be Money Wiser on U24 television. Don't miss out.
U24. Don't miss.